Well, it would appear there's something missing from my PC. I'm not quite sure. Can anyone help me out? Can't seem to find the missing component here. All right, so joking aside, welcome to another Plays with Tech YouTube video. And today's topic is, yes, I've actually done it. I've sold my RTX 5090. And in this video I'm going to explain why I did that, and why I'm not mad about that, and what's to come. So, why did I do it? Why did I sell the fastest gaming graphics card ever produced by NVIDIA, or anybody else for that matter? Well, it was very simple. I fell into a trap that I quite often tend to fall into, and that is the trap of the ego purchase, or the tech ego purchase. And that's also part of today's topic. In the tech community, we constantly try to justify buying the flagship hardware, whether we need it or we don't. And the 5090 for me was like a holy grail type product. I wanted to have one at some point. I wanted to have one really badly. When I bought one finally, I did manage to snag it at a pretty good price. It was about $2,700 at the time. Also keep in mind I'm in Switzerland, so these are Swiss or European prices. It's not 100% apples to the US market. However, at the time it was quite a good price because they were over $3,000 for the longest time. And I felt very pleased with myself, and I was very pleased with the purchase. Like, hey, this is my dream card, and I bought it for sub 3,000. And I told myself, well, this time I'm going to keep it. I'm not going to sell it. I'm not going to do any shenanigans with it. I'm going to try to protect it. I'm going to try to keep it from blowing up and keep the 12 volt high. Speaking of 12 volt high power, let's check out my connector. Wow, it's actually intact. No traces of any burns or any discoloration, no funny smell from the cable. It seems this Asus Thor 1200P2 held up pretty well to the task. And the cable that Asus includes seems to be doing the job just fine. Also notice how all the pins are still in line, like they're not recessed back into the connector, like some users have reported. Back to the topic, the ego purchase, yes. I didn't have a use case for a 5090. I didn't need the card. I just wanted it because I really, really like it. And I specifically chose the Asus Astral 5090. And I actually even bought the BTF edition card because I had planned originally to go or to upgrade my board later to a BTF board. I haven't gotten around to doing that yet. I'm probably not going to now. I'm just going to stick to my hardware for the foreseeable future because there's nothing on the market that even interests me right now or even tickles my fancy, so like the 5090 did. So yeah, this is the card that I had, 5090 Astral OC edition. There's the motherboard, not the motherboard, there's the power supply I have, the Thor. At the time when I bought it, I knew it was an ego purchase, and I knew it was an irresponsible amount of money to spend on any one component on a PC. And I think part of it is FOMO. I think FOMO has got the best of me here. That was certainly part of it. As is the case with many purchases these days and many products, it seems that hype culture and FOMO culture has infested almost every hobby out there. Be that, you know, if I just look at my hobbies, cars and tech and Apple products and stuff like that, everyone needs the latest and greatest at all times. And if you don't have the latest and greatest, you're being labeled a peasant. Or it's funny, I was flamed on Reddit for the 5090, and I again got flamed on Reddit for purchasing an M3 Max MacBook Pro, which is funny because you guys seem to love my M3 Max unboxing video and my justifications for purchasing it. And also, thank you very much for the interest and the views in that video. It's more than I ever could have wished for. But on Reddit, I got flamed. I was called an idiot. I was told that the M3 Max is obsolete, that there are bigger, faster chips out there. The M4 Max destroys it. The M5 Max destroys it, which is not really the case. I got people with MacBook Airs telling me I'm stupid, basically. And that's really sad to me because I remember about 10, 15-ish years ago, people were way more enthusiastic about products, and we didn't flame people for buying whatever category product, be that low-end, mid-tier, or high-end. We all seem to get along a lot better. And I, for one, was never a guy, even back when I was a teenager and I couldn't afford any of this stuff ever, I would never in my right mind go online on a forum, overclock.net or Reddit or whatever, and flame guys for having a GTX Titan or a Titan Black or whatever the case may be. So from that perspective, it's really interesting to see how the culture has shifted. And we are entering this era of hyper flex culture, where on the one hand you have people flexing these products, and on the other hand you have people flaming them for it, and they're seeing the devil personified if someone buys a high-end product. It's like any other thing. If you go on Instagram and you look at cars, people are crapping on a guy for buying a Lamborghini. Oh, he should have bought that. Oh, my BRZ can beat that. Oh, my Subaru's faster. Oh, my Supra can gap you, this and that and the other thing. And I just think that's really sad. And I think we have to find a way back to the older mindset here, where we can be appreciative of everything, and we can appreciate hardware especially, regardless of politics or your thoughts about the current state of the world or the system or whatever you might think about NVIDIA or Jensen Huang. It doesn't really matter, because the card is still the fastest single graphics card ever produced, and that to me will always be fascinating. I don't mix hard facts and politics or personal feelings. Maybe because of my background in corporate IT, I've learned that to differentiate between the two. But I will never let my personal feelings judge or cloud my judgment towards a product, because a product is just that. It's just a product at the end of the day. The 5090 is an inanimate object. Like, it's not going to put food on my table. Well, maybe if I had a use case, but we'll get to that in a second. And it's not going to pull food away from my table either. So it doesn't matter what you think. The fact remains, it's an amazing product. I was really proud while I had mine, and it's bittersweet. It's bittersweet to let go. However, and that brings me to another thing that I think is really important and should be a really important skill in today's world especially. Don't get attached emotionally to things. Don't get attached to physical objects. I know we're all passionate about these things. I know we're all enthusiasts. We're tech enthusiasts. We're PC enthusiasts. I mean, I wouldn't build this computer if I weren't. I wouldn't have bought any single one of these components if I weren't an enthusiast. But we still have to differentiate and sort of in our heads find a middle ground of not letting our emotions get attached to these things. At the end of the day, it's hardware, they're objects, and we should operate independently of that. Same goes for money. Don't get emotionally attached to money. Money to me is a tool. It's a tool to buy you certain things, and those things can be physical objects like a 5090, or it can be time, it can be freedom, it can be peace of mind, it can be, food, it can be shelter, it can be any number of things. And we seem to forget that, sometimes, especially in today's, FOMO or hype culture world. Yeah, back to the use case. I didn't have a use case for this thing. I wasn't running LLMs. I wasn't doing AI workflows. I wasn't mining crypto on my cards. So I had nothing to offset the cost. It was a true, gaming purchase for me. But the funny thing is, last year in September, I started my bachelor's degree. And ever since, I basically have no time to game, or very little time to game. And most of the time when I do have time to game, it's usually at night or when I get home after a long day. I just sit down on my couch in the living room and turn on my PlayStation, and then after a certain while you realize, oh crap, I have a 5090 sitting in here that I paid almost $3,000 for that I barely touch anymore. And it's funny, I actually did more schoolwork on this computer and the 5090 than I did actual gaming. I was really excited about Forza Horizon 6. I purchased the game pretty much immediately when it launched, but again, school was in the way, and some other personal projects got in the way. I started my YouTube channels because I do want to branch out and build sort of an online presence. So the amount of time I have for gaming, or strictly for gaming, has been dwindling. And that was also ultimately one of the reasons why the 5090 had to go, because I needed the cash also for some of those other projects. And it was just tying up way too much capital for me to justify it anymore, just sitting in a computer. Because the rest of the system I was kind of slowly building over time. I guess I should tell you the specs. Outside we have the ROG Hyperion case. This is the BTF edition of the Hyperion, so I am ready for BTF motherboards if I ever do decide to go that route. We have an ROG Thor 1200P2 power supply. I love this power supply because of the little OLED display. Although I have to say, I do find it increasingly buggy and annoying. Sometimes the display will just hang and display like a glitched out message, or not even a message. It would just glitch out, and you would have a weird glitched out pixel matrix on there. So that's kind of annoying because it is almost $300 here, and I would have expected more, especially from ROG. Then my motherboard, I've had that for a while. This is a Gigabyte Aorus Master Z790. Yes, I'm still on Intel Z790. I'm still on 14th gen. I do like the platform, even though I did have one 13900K fail on me, which I had to RMA, but that was before the whole fiasco was even known about the 13th and 14th gen CPUs dying. So I've RMA'd it, and I've requested specifically a 14900KS for the better silicon, not exactly for overclocking, even though it's marketed as an overclocking chip. But these chips out of the box have already been pushed so hard that really I wasn't comfortable, even though I have enough cooling now to sustain it. But I've run the Intel limits, and I've undervolted it on basically day one, right after I've built the PC and booted into the BIOS for the first time. I've dialed everything down. I've set all the voltage limits. I've set all the current limits. And I've even tried disabling some of the E-cores, although I didn't find much of a difference. So I re-enabled them. And why did I pick this motherboard specifically? I picked it because it's EATX. I don't know, I'm just a big fan of EATX. I used to have X99 builds back in the day, and I've fallen in love with the EATX form factor. There's just something about these bigger, wider boards that can fit more components on them that just, speak to me. What else do we have? We have the RAM. This is 32 gigabytes of Trident Z5 RGB from G.Skill. I bought this a year and a half ago for $120, and this exact kit in the online store where I bought it right now sits at $450 to $480. So a price increase of 4x, and I'm still kicking myself because I wanted to upgrade to 64 gigabytes, but I always, kind of put it off because it wasn't a priority, of course. And now, 64 gig kit of this memory is $800, $900, $1,000, $1,200 in some cases, and that makes zero sense to me. So I'm just sticking with this kit for the foreseeable future. Luckily, there's a lifetime warranty on these G.Skill kits, and my retailer does honor that, so I should be set for a long time there. As for CPU cooling, this is the EK Waterblocks Nucleus 360 DRGB. So this is the RGB version with the three, I don't know if you can see that on the action cam perspective. It has three 120 millimeter fans, RGB fans, and this RGB plate with removable and swappable covers here in the middle, which attach magnetically. I really like it. I still like EK as a brand, even after the whole, shenanigans they pulled. Gamers Nexus did a large piece about that a while back. But I still like the brand. I still like that it's a European brand. I still like that they exist, and I still like the product. I mean, this is a really very nice AIO. I've had a few Corsair units in the past, and this to me is way nicer and way higher quality. We have some M.2 storage. More precisely, I believe 5 M.2 drives in there. I've basically chucked all the storage that I have amassed over the past decade of PC building almost. I've decided to chuck everything in there. So there's about a total of 10.8, 10.7 terabytes in here, consisting of 5 M.2 drives. And I also have two 3.5 inch old school hard drives that I use for archiving and backups and stuff like that in the bottom here. Also, there are some SATA SSDs, 2.5 inch here at the back. So what's next? Obviously, I can't leave it like this. I could run it headless off of just the iGPU, but that's no fun. I mean, I have a 42-inch 4K 120 hertz OLED monitor here, so that would be a waste, right? Yes, it would. And I'm definitely looking at getting into a high-end GPU again at some point in the future. Maybe when this YouTube channel takes off and I can actually justify it and film some content about the cards and, about the build. But for the time being, I'm looking at 5070 Ti. Let me make this bigger so you guys can see something. In the meantime, I'm looking at 5070 Ti's. They're right around the 780 to 800 range, depending on the model here. Or I'm also looking at the RX 9070 XT. These can be had for as little as $520, $529. I've seen some of them. Here the Sapphire Pulse for $587. XFX makes a mean graphics card, $595. So yeah, I'll probably end up with one of these just to keep the costs down and to tide me over until maybe the RTX 50 Super Series launches, if NVIDIA can secure enough VRAM for those cards, and if they don't raise the prices to oblivion again. And I'm also very curious if AMD will finally release another high-end graphics card to follow up the 9070 XT. So maybe a 9080 or a 9090 XT, or an XTX maybe, like we had with the 7900 generation with more cores and more VRAM. I would definitely be looking into that as well if they ever release that. I was initially thinking RTX 60 series should be right around the corner, maybe early next year. But the latest rumors from Moore's Law is Dead and some other channels point to RTX 60 series releasing in 2028 at the earliest. It's still almost 2.5 years out. What's the moral of the story here? Don't buy the tech consumerist advice. Figure out what your needs are and figure out what your budget is exactly, and make a good budget, make a tight budget. Don't think, oh, I can afford this, I could stretch it out, I'll just save some other place, or I'll just eat ramen for the next 4 months to afford this purchase. Don't fall into that trap. Don't do the ego purchase, because what you need almost always less than you think you need. I know in the tech community, we tend to, always be at the bleeding edge, and we always try to have the best things and the fastest things. But there comes a certain, there's a cross section between price, performance, and your needs. And after a certain point, it becomes just diminishing returns, and it's not worth it in the end. Do I regret it? Regret is the wrong term, I think. It's bittersweet, yes, for sure. I mean, I had the world's best GPU, in my opinion, and now I don't have it anymore. But I know there are bigger, better things on the way, and I try to be an optimist, even though it's sometimes hard in today's world to be an optimist, but I always try to remain optimistic. And I know that I'm pouring my energy, my time, and my money in all the right places at the moment. And who knows, maybe in a year when I'm at 50,000 subscribers or whatever, I'll buy the new 50 Super Series or the 60 Series or the 9070 XTX or whatever it may be. And you'll be the first to hear about it here. So that's been another video. Thank you again very, very much for all the views and all the support I've been getting. It's truly surreal to me. I mean, up until 3 weeks ago, I had no YouTube presence. And now I do, and my first video is over 8,000 views, and this is basically like a dream for me. So thank you again. Thanks for your time. Thank you for watching. If you're into cars, consider subscribing to my main channel, Plays with Cars. I'll link it in the description. There are some changes coming on that channel very soon as well, and I'm looking very much forward to seeing you. So thank you. Thank you very much.